You work harder than anyone you know. You follow every rule. You tell the truth, even when a lie would be easier. And yet, every time you look around, someone else is standing on the podium. They got promoted not by merit, but by charm. They earned praise not by effort, but by knowing whose ego to stroke. Meanwhile, you keep playing fair, convinced the system rewards integrity, only to find yourself passed over yet again. This isn't because you're incompetent or naive. You're losing because you're playing the wrong game. In Machiavelli's world, politics beat performance, and image trumps integrity. The loudest voice, not the wisest, commands the room. It feels unjust, and it is. You were taught that virtue leads to reward. Machiavelli calls that lesson a dangerous delusion. In The Prince, he writes, "Goodness without strategy is suicide." If you insist on being good in a world that isn't, you become prey. Your honesty and kindness make you predictable. You reveal your hand, they conceal theirs. They flatter those in power. You speak truth to their faces and watch doors close in response. Observe the winners around you. They aren't always the most talented, they're the most adaptable. They smile when it serves them, flatter without sincerity, and know exactly which words to utter to which ears. You might call it fake. Machiavelli calls it survival. This isn't a crash course in evil. It's a wake-up call. The world doesn't reward goodness, it rewards power. If you want to survive, let alone thrive, you must learn the game they're playing. Most of us grew up hearing that honesty is the best policy, that doing the right thing will lift you up in the end. Machiavelli saw this as a fatal error. In his view, morality is a luxury you can afford only after you've secured your safety and power. Before then, it can be your undoing. He didn't advocate wanton cruelty, far from it. He simply insisted that virtue alone won't protect you when others wield strategy in its place. A man who wishes to make a profession of goodness in everything, he warns, is bound to come to ruin among so many who are not good. The world isn't a moral classroom. It's a contest of wills. Imagine two leaders. One speaks of principles day in and day out, refusing to bend or deceive. The other understands that appearances matter more than intentions. When beneficial, they cloak ruthlessness in the language of compassion. When Machiavelli says it's not necessary to actually possess all the good qualities, but to appear to possess them, he's giving you a survival blueprint. Wear virtue like armor, but don't let it weigh you down. Ask yourself, who holds sway in your office, your circle, your industry? Is it the person who quotes lofty ideals, or the one whose carefully crafted persona wins favor? More often than not, it's the latter, because power flows to perception, not to purity. That doesn't mean you should abandon your conscience. It means you must control your morality, using it as a tool, not as a straitjacket. When honesty serves your goals, wield it boldly. When it doesn't, learn to hold back. A well-timed half-truth or strategic omission can spare you ruin, while blind honesty can burn bridges you'll never rebuild. True strength, Machiavelli teaches, comes from the ability to shift fluidly between virtue and vice, depending on what the moment demands. It's not evil to adapt, it's wisdom. In the next section, we'll break down the 3 brutal truths he believed every survivor must face about emotions, laws, and the ultimate nature of power. Truth 1: emotions outpace facts. We like to believe that people respond to reason, but history proves otherwise. Fear, hope, envy, loyalty, these are the levers that truly move crowds. A charismatic leader who understands this can sway a nation with half-truths, while the most rigorous presentation of facts often falls on deaf ears. Machiavelli observed that people are driven more by appearances than realities, and that to command loyalty, you must master the art of emotional influence. Logic alone rarely wins elections. Vision and visceral appeal do. Truth 2. Laws bind the weak. We're taught laws protect us all equally, but power bends rules to its will. The wealthy slip through loopholes, the influential secure exceptions, the ruthless pay fines as the cost of doing business. Meanwhile, the cautious obey every regulation, losing ground by the minute. Machiavelli did not counsel lawlessness, rather he urged strategic navigation of legal frameworks. Know where laws constrain you and where they can be flexed or reinterpreted. If you play by the rule book while others write new chapters, you'll never level the playing field. Truth 3. Power is performance. True authority isn't rooted in titles or expertise, it's a stagecraft. The most effective figures project confidence, even if they must pretend it. They harness body language, speech cadence, and image to command attention. Machiavelli wrote, "It is not necessary for a prince to have all good qualities, but he must appear to have them." In modern terms, authenticity is overrated if it lacks impact. Those who master perception, controlling the narrative around their actions, set the terms of engagement, while sincere souls find themselves constantly on defense. Accepting these truths isn't signing away your humanity, it's arming yourself with realism. When you understand that people are moved by emotion, that laws are elastic in the hands of power, and that perception shapes outcomes, you shift from playing fair to playing effectively. Steve Jobs, the reality distortion field. To millions, Steve Jobs was a visionary genius, the man who gave us the Mac, the iPhone, and Pixar's magic. Yet behind the legend lay ruthless performance. Colleagues dubbed his ability to reshape credibility the reality distortion field. Jobs didn't simply sell products, he sold belief, convincing teams to achieve the impossible and customers to pay a premium for sleek glass and aluminum. He demanded loyalty, publicly humiliated dissenters, and took credit for others' work when it served him. Yet because his persona radiated brilliance, no one dared challenge him. His confidence became contagious. His constructed image eclipsed any question of morality. Jobs wasn't right because his products succeeded. His products succeeded because he controlled the narrative. Vladimir Putin, the mask of strength. Whether you support him or not, Vladimir Putin's power is undeniable. He rose through the KGB, mastered the art of appearance, and consolidated authority with calculated ruthlessness. State media projects him as infallible, decisive, unassailable, a leader Russia needs in dangerous times. His opponents vanish or flee, dissenting voices are silenced. Underneath, he skillfully bends rules, using legal maneuvers, covert operations, and strategic alliances to maintain control. He wields fear as a currency, reminding both allies and adversaries that in Putin's game, obedience is safety, defiance is peril. Through staged photo ops, choreographed interviews, and a carefully curated public persona, he performs strength, then leverages that image into real-world power. Jobs and Putin stand on opposite ends of the moral spectrum, yet both mastered Machiavelli's playbook. They prioritized perception, wielded emotion over fact, and navigated laws while projecting the trappings of virtue. Their successes weren't accidents of talent alone, they were triumphs of strategy. Now, having seen the playbook in action, let's explore how playing dirty doesn't make you a villain, but often just a smarter survivor. The phrase "play dirty" conjures images of betrayal and cruelty. Yet Machiavelli's world isn't black and white. It's a mosaic of strategy, necessity, and survival. To play dirty is not to abandon morality, but to choose when and how to wield it. Imagine you're at a crossroads. A colleague demands extra work you can't afford to give. Helping would break your back. Refusing could ruin a relationship. A purely moral stance, saying yes every time, sacrifices your well-being. A Machiavellian move might be to politely decline, citing your own deadlines, or to offer a smaller favor that protects your time. You're not cruel, you're protecting your resources. Or consider a negotiation. You could lay all your cards on the table, every advantage, every concession, out of honesty. Instead, you reveal only enough to secure a favorable deal, keeping your true limits hidden. That lack of full disclosure might feel dishonest, but if you truly offered everything up front, you'd lose leverage, and everyone would walk away feeling entitled to more. A measured concealment becomes a necessary tactic. Machiavelli wrote, "A prince must learn how not to be good, and use this knowledge or refrain from using it to his advantage." In other words, understand vice so thoroughly you can deploy it like a scalpel, precise, targeted, and strategically timed, rather than flailing about in confusion. Key moments to play dirty strategically. Saying no when every yes drains you. Boundaries aren't cruelty, they're the guardrails that keep you functional. Wearing a mask of agreement or warmth while you plan your next move. Masks aren't lies, they're professional tools. Withholding full truth when revealing it would cost you your position or allow others to exploit you. Transparency is a virtue until it becomes your vulnerability. This isn't a call to cruelty. It's a call to self-preservation in a world that often rewards those who conceal their vulnerabilities. Playing dirty smartly means never betraying your own core values, but never exposing them to those who would weaponize them. When you see results flowing to the ruthless or the deceptive, remember it's not because they are immoral, it's because they mastered strategy. The truly powerful don't shout, "I'm evil." They quietly use every tool at their disposal, moral or otherwise, to secure their position. In the final sections, we'll confront the ultimate choice. Remain the honest loser, powerless but proud, or become the masked survivor, powerful yet principled. Understanding when to show your true self and when to sheath it. You arrive at a stark crossroads. Cling to your naive honesty, remain the honest loser, or don the mask of strategy and become the masked survivor. Both paths carry risks and demands, but only one offers true agency in a world that rewards perception over principle. If you choose the honest loser route, you preserve your pristine moral code at all costs. You'll sleep soundly knowing you never compromised your values. Yet you'll watch from the sidelines as others, less qualified, less ethical, ascend. You'll feel frustration, resentment, and eventually the hollow ache of wasted potential. Your ideals become your prison, your virtue, your obstacle. Alternatively, the masked survivor bandies honesty with discretion. You still hold your principles, but you don't advertise them like a shield. You reveal just enough of your integrity to garner trust when it benefits you. Behind the scenes, you adapt, saying no when necessary, employing half-truths when full disclosure would wound your position, using compassion to disarm suspicion before striking with precision. You become like a jazz musician, improvising within a structure only you truly understand. Machiavelli would not mock your moral qualms. He recognized that morality is a performance, valuable when it secures power, dangerous when it exposes weakness. He advised princes to be both fox and lion, cunning enough to spot traps, strong enough to deter predators. In your life, that translates to being principled enough to maintain your self-respect, strategic enough to preserve your self-interest. Consider your daily decisions. When a colleague offloads extra work, you might smile and say, "I'm at capacity," rather than, "Sorry, I won't help." When a client demands your lowest price, you can highlight your value first, rather than unconditionally conceding. When praise comes, you graciously accept but redirect the spotlight to your team, maintaining humility while controlling the narrative. These moves aren't betrayal. They're nuanced negotiations with reality. You're not discarding your soul. You're encasing it in flexible armor. You stand ready to deploy your values when they empower you and to protect them when they'd be exploited. At its core, this is not about becoming heartless, but about becoming heart-wise. Discerning when your generosity uplifts and when it depletes. Knowing when your candor builds credibility and when it becomes collateral damage. In choosing the masked survivor path, you reclaim agency. You no longer wait for the world to reward your goodness. You define your own success by mastering the interplay of perception and performance. You become the architect of outcomes rather than their victim. Machiavelli's lesson cuts to the bone. The world doesn't reward goodness, it rewards power. But power, when wielded with principle and strategy, isn't tyranny. It's control over your destiny. You can remain the honest loser, noble yet powerless, or you can become the masked survivor, principled yet powerful. Your next steps: 1. Identify one situation where blind honesty cost you an opportunity. Could a strategic mask have turned the tide? 2. Practice a single Machiavellian move this week, saying no firmly, withholding a detail or projecting confident vulnerability, and observe the outcome. 3. Reflect on how it felt. Did you betray your values, or did you protect your interests with your integrity intact? If you're ready to play the game on your own terms, subscribe to PsychVerseX for more strategies that blend psychology, philosophy, and the raw truths of human nature. Hit the bell to stay notified, because understanding the rules is half the battle. Mastering them is where true freedom lies. Now, armed with Machiavelli's realism and your own moral compass, step onto the stage. The world is watching. It's your move.